Okay, now we're gonna talk about, uh, as you remember when we talked about the aggregate demand, it said we differentiated between, a change in the quant demand of free GDP and a change in the aggregate demand. Now, the same thing as far as the aggregate supply is concerned, or short-term aggregate supply is concerned, we have a change in the quantity supplied of free GDP and a change in the short-run aggregate supply. A change in the quantity supplied of free GDP, of course, is shown graphically as a movement along the short-run aggregate supply. Okay, here differentiate between a change in the quantity supplied of free GDP and a change in short-run aggregate supply. A change in the quantity supplied of real GDP, of course, is shown as a movement along the aggregate supply, the short-term aggregate supply. And remember, the price level is the only factor that causes that movement. So it's shown as a movement. It's shown as a movement along the short-run aggregate supply curve. That's what you get here. This is the price level. This is demand. This is the real GDP here, and this is of course, the short-run aggregate supply. It is of course upward, as we shown before. It's upward sloping. Okay. Now, a change in the quantity supplied. If the price level is over here, P0, then the quantity supplied is Q0. The quantity supplied of free GDP is Q0. When the price level increases, of course, to P1, then the price level is Q1. Okay? So as you can see, we have a movement along the short-term aggregate supply. Okay? And as I said, the price level, of course, is the only factor that can cause this type of, movement along the short-term aggregate supply or a change in the quantity supply. So the quantity supplied, it changes, when the price level, it changes. Also, the quantity supply changes when there is, of course, a change in the quantity in the short-term aggregate supply. Okay? Now, the second, concept, which is a change in the short-term aggregate supply, a change in the short-run aggregate supply. Of course, this change in short-term aggregate supply is, is a shifting of the short-term aggregate supply either to the right or to the left. Okay, a change in the short-term aggregate supply, of course, is shown graphically as a shifting of the short-term aggregate supply either to the right or to the left. Here we're going to talk about factors that cause that shift. So here, this is shown graphically as a shifting in the short-run aggregate supply either to the right or to the left. Either to the right or to the left, such as this, this is the price level, and this is the this is the real GDP, okay, and this is, short run aggregate supply, 0, either it could shift to the right, short run aggregate supply 1, or shift to the left, as you can see, short run aggregate supply 2, okay, either to the right or to the left, okay. Now here we're going to talk about, okay, the factors that cause the short-term aggregate supply to shift either to the right or to the left. Okay. Now here we're talking about factors that cause, a change that cause the short-run aggregate supply to change. Yeah, that is shift to the right or to the left. Okay? We're going to talk about the factors that cause the short-term aggregate supply to change. Short-term aggregate supply curve to change either to the right or to the left. What are those factors? Okay? The first one, of course, we're going to talk about the changes in the wage rate. Changes in the wage rate. Changes, of course, in the wage rate. Now, as you know, wages, wages constitute a big portion of a firm's cost. Okay? Wages, of course, constitute a big portion of a firm cost. Now, a change in the wage rates have a major effect on the position of the short-term aggregate supply. A change in the wage rate has change in the wage, of course, has a major effect on the position of the short-run aggregate supply curve. Okay? So, to understand this, to have a closer look at this effect of a rise or fall in the wage rates, we can see that, by looking at the following formula or at the following equation. Look at the following equation. The following of course, shows shows clearly the impact of a change of wage rates on the profits of a firm. If you move here, look over here. You know, profit per unit is equal price per unit minus cost per unit. Okay? So, as I said over here, we said that wages constitute a big portion of a firm's cost. So, when the wage rate increases, that implies, cost of the firm will increase. And at constant prices, that implies, profit of the firm will go down. So, as you can see here, wage rates go up, that implies cost per unit, of course, go up, and at constant prices, at constant prices, we have a decrease in profit. So when profit goes down, of course, firms, will produce less. That implies firms produce less. Same thing, we can say about when wage rate goes down. Wage rate of course, go down. That implies cost of production decreases, and at constant prices, this implies firms profits increases, and this implies firms produce more. Firms produce more. So actually, as you can see, a rise or fall in the wage, rate has an impact or effect or an influence on the position of the shorter angle supply curve, as we see graphically. Okay. Therefore, a rise or fall in the wage rates have a big impact on the position of the short run curve. Okay? Let's say of course, here, as you can see, at a given price level, P0, at a given price level, P0, okay, on a given short-term angle supply curve, okay, on SRAS0, the quantity supplied of real GDP is Q0, as you see graphically below. That's what you get over here. This is the price level. This is the real GDP. Okay. Now this is this is the price level over here. P0. Okay. And then you have the short-run aggregate supply, as you can see, short-run aggregate supply 0 at a given price level P0 on short-run aggregate supply S0. It's over here. The quantity supply of real GDP is Q0. Q0. Now, when the wage rate increases, okay, the equilibrium wage rate increases, that implies, that implies the firm's profit will decrease. Okay, and at the given price level, at constant price level P0, that will translate to lower output, lower than Q0. Okay, so where are we going to see this one here? Over here, Q1. Okay, which implies here it's going to be this Q1 on, on a new short-run aggregate supply to the left of this. This is short-run aggregate supply 1. As you can see, there is a shifting of this. So when the wage rate increases, according to the formula we have already stated over here, that implies the profit of the firm will go down, and that means that firm is going to produce less output at this price level here, P0, constant price level. At this given price level, the firm will produce less output than Q0. So at Q1, Q1 is going to be on a different, short-run aggregate supply, namely SRAS1. Okay, and when the wage rate decreases, that implies, the profit of the firm, according to the formula over here, will increase, and at constant price level P0, that implies firms is going to produce more output, of course, more output than Q0 over here. So it's going to be over here, Q2. So at this constant price level, as you can see, so it's going to produce over here SRAS2. Okay, so as you can see, this is A, this is B, and this is C. As you can see over here, a reduction in the wage rate means that the short-run aggregate supply will shift to the right, of course, which means production, more production, And an increase in the wage rate means, of course, a decrease in the shorter aggregate supply, which is shifting to the left, which means lower output. And this is, of course, the meaning of what, of this factor, which is it changes in the wage rate. Now let's look at another factor that also cause a change in the shorter aggregate supply curve. Of course, the second factor that can shift the short-term energy supply, either to the right or to the left, is, of course, productivity. Of course, when we say productivity, we mean the amount of output, amount of output produced per unit of input employed over a certain period of time. Of course, we can have, various inputs that have productivity. Let's focus upon the labor productivity. When we say labor productivity, of course, labor productivity. Of course, labor is a major input, okay, that is used to produce. So let's focus about labor productivity. When we say labor productivity, we mean the amount of output produced per worker employed over a certain period of time. So when, of course, labor productivity increase, that implies more output is produced, which implies, that shorter supply shifted to the right. So labor productivity increase means more output is produced with the same amount of labor per worker employed over some time. Period of time. So it means when labor productivity increases, that implies more output is produced per worker employed over a certain time, which implies what? A shifting to the right of the short-run aggregate supply curve. As you can see over here, shifting to the right. Okay, shifting to the right of the short-run aggregate supply. Same thing, we can talk about a decrease in the labor productivity. Okay, labor productivity decreases. That implies less output is produced with the same amount of labor. This implies what? a decrease in the short-run supply. Short-run aggregate supply decreases, that implies it shifts to the left. As you can see over here, shift to the left, okay? So as you can see, there are a host of factors that can affect labor productivity. Talking about, having having higher education of the labor force. When the labor force is experiencing higher level of skills, higher level of education, that will basically enhance the labor productivity. Also, when, of course, having higher technological advancement used by the workforce, the result is going to be higher productivity. So, as I said, many factors can affect labor productivity. Some of them, such as, as I said, higher education or higher skills, can, of course, lead to higher productivity. Having higher technological advances also can cause labor productivity to increase, and so on and so forth. Of course, the third factor, talking about the factors, of course, the third factor that affect the short-term energy supply curve is, prices of non-labor inputs. Prices of non-labor inputs, such as oil. Oil is extensively used in in the factories, and therefore, when the price of oil increases, so oil is extensively used by businesses to produce goods and services. Therefore, an increase in the price of oil means what? Means higher cost. Higher cost that firms will, bear, here. So when the firm will experience higher cost, that implies firms will produce less production. Which implies short-run aggregate supply decreases. That means it shifts to the left. Shift to the left. Okay? Short-run supply shift to the left, as you can see over here. Short-run aggregate supply, zero price level, real GDP. So shift to the left, as you can see over here. Okay, shift to the left. Now, a decrease in the price of oil, which is a non-labor input, of course, means what? Lower cost, which implies higher profits, which implies more production which implies short-run aggregate supply increases, that is, it shifts to the right. As you see below. This is the price level, and this is real GDP, and this is, as you can see, the short-run aggregate supply, 0. So when the, of course, the price of oil is going down, this, of course, makes the profit of the firm to go up, which basically encourage the firm to produce more. Well, that means the short-run supply shift to the right. Shift to the right, as you can see over here. And shifting to the right means what? More production. Okay? Now, the fourth factor that can cause the short-run supply to change, that is shift to the right or to the left, is of course the supply shocks. The fourth factor, of course, is supply shock. What actually we mean when we say supply shock? Of course, we mean major institutional or natural changes that affect the aggregate supply. Means major institutional or natural changes that affect aggregate supply. Okay? Of course, we can differentiate between two types of supply shock. We have, we can have two types of supply shock. First, we have adverse supply shock. Adverse supply shock, of course, causes the short-term aggregate supply curve to shift leftward. When we say adverse supply shock, it means the short-term supply will shift to the left, which actually implies that the the production will be less. Okay, production means is going to be less. So, what can cause a supply shock? Examples of supply adverse supply shock. Examples, of course. Bad weather. Bad weather that can cause an elimination of the production of a large part of the production. When you have bad weather that might eliminate or wipe out a big portion of the production in the country. That implies less production, okay, and which implies, as far as the aggregate supply is concerned, is that the short-term supply will shift to the left, okay, causes the short-term supply curve to shift leftward. Examples: bad weather. Another example is over here. For instance, an embargo imposed on the country by, some other countries. Let's say, for instance, the U.S. imposes an embargo, economic embargo, on Lebanon. This implies that there is, a reduction in any type of import from outside, and that will cause less production, which implies, the short-term supply will shift to the left. And then here we're talking about, for instance, economic embargo. Economic embargo imposed on the country means less production, which implies, short-term aggregate supply decreases. Okay. Now, what about the other type of, supply shock? We're talking about, of course, a beneficial supply shock. Of course, the beneficial supply shock causes the short-run aggregate supply to shift to the right. That implies short-run aggregate supply increases, that is, it shifts to the right. Okay? Examples: of course, very good weather, okay, good weather, of course, can result in a large increases in the production in the country. Therefore, more production, which implies that the short-term supply shift to the right. Of course, for instance, the discovery of, oil well. Discovery of oil in the country. Discovery of oil in the country, of course, can increase production in the country, which implies a shift into the right of the short-term aggregate supply, and many, beneficial things that take place in the country can cause short-term aggregate supply to shift to the right, which implies more production in the country.